Hey, what's up? Today I'm going to be making a clicker app for tracking habits. One thing that a lot of habit gurus and whatnot recommend is having a way to track whether you're doing a habit every day. And so for work, right now, I've got a few habits that I want to do every single day. And I want to have some way to kind of trigger myself or keep myself focused on doing that. And one way to trigger those habits is to have either an app or a tracker. And I thought this was a great project for Coda. Coda's got a lot of different functions and things that you can string together, and you can make an app really suit exactly what you need, which is what I really like about it. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with a blank doc and go from there to try to build this habit tracker out, and we'll see how far we can get in maybe the next 20 minutes. So I'm going to open the blank doc and I'm going to name it, we'll call it Habit Clicker, and we'll just call it David's because that's my name. If I type in this page title, it will also title the document. That one's for free. What do I want for the icon? I just like a button. Maybe this one. I like that one. That looks good. So as with most things in data in Coda, or data in Coda, they all start with a table. So I'm going to start with a table, and I'm going to name this table habits. And I've got a few habits that I've written down in this other Coda doc that I want to do. One is to review my OKR board every single day. Another one is to make sure that I inbox zero my work inbox of email, and also inbox zero my personal inbox once a day, so that I'm filtering through my emails and making sure that things don't get out of hand, and I'm saying no to certain emails that I might be tempted to hold off till later, because really, if I just hold off till later, that means it's never going to happen anyway. So those are the habits that I want to set up. And so now I've got those in a table. I don't need these columns right now. So that's going to be the first table. The second table that I want to build needs to track the number of times and the days that I do those habits. So if you think of it like a table, you've got your habits on the left here, and then you've got your days kind of up here, and you want to go through each of those days and check it off. But in Coda, the way that you do that would be to have a table for this portion, and you can't see my hands, table for this portion, and then the table for the days, or a table to kind of link the days up to those habits. And so what I'm going to do is create another table here, and I'm going to use a blank table, and what I'm going to call this is something called like a habit occurrences or habits done. We'll call it habits done, just to make it clear that this is not the habits table, but it's when they actually get done. Hopefully it's pretty simple. And what I'm going to want here is really two things. I just want the date that I did the habit and the habit itself. And so here I want to have a lookup on the habits. I want it to only be able to look up one, so that, let's say, the way that I'm logging this information is I've got I say review the OKR board, and if I did it on this day, then, and today's, let's make this a date column by going over here to the column type, typing in date, and I moved off, shouldn't have done that. Selecting date, and then I just write today. I don't even know if I need to write today. I just write T or anything. No, any letter, and you win. You write today. There's a pro tip for you. And this will log that I did it today. I could do the same thing for my work inbox 0. Let's say I did it today. Personal inbox 0. Let's say I did it today. And this is okay, but one of the principles that James Clear uses when he talks about habit formation is one of the first laws is that you make it easy. And this is a lot of work, right? I gotta write that, type that in. This is a lot of key presses. I gotta do this. It's just a lot. And so what's nice about clickers, or a clicker app, so to speak, is that you just hit the button and it logs it. And so what I want to do now, so I've got these data tables, and I'm just gonna move these, or you know what? Let's just do everything together, and then I will rearrange everything at the end. But what I can do is I can make a button now, and I'll call this button log OKR look. So this is a button that logs when I've looked at the OKR board. And what I wanted to do, very obviously, is whenever I look at the OKR board, if I hit this button, then it will log that I've done it. And so I would say I want to add a row to another table, because I log looks at the OKR board by adding a row to this table. So I'm going to add a row to the table, right click here to open up this menu back up. And it's going to do habits done, and the value for the name of the habit is review the OKR board. And instead of name, I'm just going to call that habit, so that's very clear, and change the name of that thing. And already it's working. Notice though that it's only a text item when I do that. So instead of typing in review the OKR board, what I want is for it to choose that correct row. And so I'm going to hit equals, and you'll see here all the data that you've got in your document will kind of pop into this autocomplete area, and I can just select it, review the OKR board. And now if let's say I hit it again, you see these rows that show up are the ones that I want. It's beautiful. So I'm going to delete these rows because I don't really need them right now. That hotkey doesn't work. And the date is going to be today. You saw those other rows that were getting generated. They did not have a date on them, but now if I hit it, it's today. So that's more or less all that is required, and I can just hit this button over and over, and I can just keep getting these review OKR board habits logged, which is pretty cool. But maybe I want to instead, I want to know if I've already done it today. And one way that I can do that is disabling it if there's an entry today. But what I want to do is actually know just how many times have I hit this button today, just for fun. So what I'll do is I'll take a look at this table, and really in words what I want this number to be is the number of times I've hit this button today. That means the number of rows in this table that have the date that's today and that says review the OKR board. And then I'll come over here and go to my badge, and I say equals, or I guess I don't need equals anymore because that's what happens when I go into the formula. And I'll say habits done, and I just want to count the number of rows that fit a certain criteria, and the function for doing that is called filter. So I'm going to filter out or filter the results by a certain criteria, and the criteria is that the habit is review the OKR board. I'm going to hit tab to autofill that, and excuse me, date equals today. I hit a tab for that. And that's returning this really long thing, which is not what I want, because this gives me a list of rows. And so what I need to do is then take that list of rows and count them to get a number. And so now I've got, wow, I've looked at the OKR board 8 times today. I'm feeling really accomplished. That's great. I'm also going to, just because I think colors make things really fun, I'm just going to make the button orange. So yeah, now I can log my OKR looks, and I'm going to copy this button, and instead of logging OKR looks, I'm going to log work inbox 0, and my work inbox is blue, so I'm going to change it blue, and instead of review the OKR board, it's going to be work inbox 0 here. And again, the badge down here needs to be filtered a little bit differently so that it filters on work inbox 0. And now if I click this again, I can see that I've inbox zeroed twice. Copy this button again and paste it. I'm going to now check my personal inbox 0. Here, change the habit, and go down and update the badge, filter, delete, and type personal inbox 0. It auto completes. I'll hit tab and hit enter. And now you'll see that I've got 3 different buttons, which is really nice. This blue is maybe not the exact. I'd like to have a color that's slightly different, but it looks like I can only choose from these colors. So I'm going to just call my personal inbox purple. And I want big, nice, big buttons. I think for an app like this, having nice big buttons is a plus, and I want them centered, just so that's clear. So now I've got nice big buttons that are just screaming to be clicked, and I can see exactly when or how many times I've done these things. So let's go ahead and clear this board out. I'm just gonna go through here because I haven't done any of these things. I'm just gonna delete these rows. Very good, that looks right, and I'm just going to test it. Great, this looks really good, and I really like this. So now I've got a habit clicker. I've got the buttons, and what I want is something called a streak, right? You know what a streak is. When you just do this, you do something every single day or something. You're just on a tear, and the most effective habits are those that you feel like you're on a streak, you're doing it every day, and it becomes kind of this habit where you just keep on doing it, keep on doing it, keep on doing it. So I want to kind of have that streak be represented in visual form. So I'm just gonna make a few entries here. And let's say I've got a streak going for a week. I've been doing this for a week. I want to, and I want to log that. So I'm going to change that to 322, 321, 320. This kind of a manual process. Obviously, if you automate this, you never have to type in you don't have to type anything in. 318, 317. Of course, I don't want to be working on the weekends, so I'll have to kind of mentally block the weekends out, but you get the idea. And now what I want is a visualization of these days. And so there's a few ways that I could do this, but I think that the way that I want to to do it first is with a chart. The chart's very simple, and you could use the habits done, and you've got the number, you've got the date. You can segment it by habit, so you can see that, oh yeah, I've done these things every single day. This is great. I don't have any days that are empty, and that's what really gets your psychology going. Is that I don't have any empty days. This is awesome. I'm right in there. Another way that you could do this would be, instead of having a chart, another visualization you might have is actually another table view of this. So we'll call this a table, or we create a table, and we'll say we'll say streaks, right? And column type, we have a date here, and here we can say have a column for each of the habits, and this one would be OKR, work inbox 0, and personal inbox 0. And let's say we have the date today, or the date, and we just fill this thing up with dates. And here what we could do is do some conditional formatting. You say on the OKR row, if we'll say a formula. Oops. You can use a formula instead of doing that. You could say if we'll call it date here, and we want to see if the date or if the habits done table has a row where the date is the date from this table as a current value, date. I think it's getting a little confused. Habits done.filter equals this row. There we go, .date. So you have a matching date, and habit equals review the OKR board. And if this count is greater than 1, then turn this cell blue. That's what I'd like it to do, but it doesn't seem like it wants to do this. Habit equals review the OKR board. This says 0 of 4 rows, even though there is definitely a row where the date is 3/23 and the habit is review the OKR board. To reference a habit in an invalid context, please try re-entering the reference. So it really doesn't like this. I'm just going to go ahead for the sake of this video and abandon this. But you could get the idea where you have like a chart where everything, whenever a day is completed, where you've actually got an OKR look, or you've done this habit for the day, this lights up. And I think I'm going to go through perhaps in a future video and really try to build that out. But for the time being, this is how far we're going to get. But We reviewed how to make buttons and how to create rows off of those buttons. And I think in the next video, I will really dig down deep into how to get this streak to work. All right.